Hello and welcome to Lakeville, Minnesota. I'm here with Frank, who's kind enough to share with us his Rivian R1S, which he just picked up a few days ago. So, Frank, tell us about your journey coming to the R1S and a little bit about yourself.
Originally from Mexico, moved here junior year in high school, and went to school at UMD. First experience with snow, and there's a big snowstorm in '91, and the whole city shut down. And my college roommates and I were building snow sculptures outside when here comes flying a pickup truck hauling another college student with ski ropes and downhill skis. And I just kind of stared at it and go, we're stuck, but they can go wherever they want and do whatever they want. And so a few years later, I ended up buying a Nissan Pathfinder, and that thing was green, boxy, big, rugged tires, and I could go wherever I wanted on those snowstorms. Fast forward 30 years later, when Rivian announced this thing at the LA Auto Show, and it just brought back nostalgic memories of that. We ended up going to Colorado. We just did all kinds of off-roading stuff. And I'm like, well, here's a version of it that doesn't, use gas and is way more powerful and way more capable. And so I put the order 2.5 years ago, and just showed up on Saturday. So very, very happy to see it.
Very, very cool. So is this your first EV, or how did you get into this and decide this would be the right option for you?
Well, I'm a technology geek too. So I've been with plug-in hybrids. I had a BMW 530e with a heads-up display. I love the technology behind it. And then I was getting range anxiety the other way. So whenever the gas engine would kick on, I would be like, I hate this thing. I wish it was full EV the whole time. But they didn't really make, there wasn't a lot of options back then. I have a family of 5. And so the next vehicle we bought was a Pacifica plug-in hybrid, and that thing got 30 miles per plug-in, and it was awesome. It was, but we had to get rid of it, and got a Audi e-tron SUV, and that was our first full EV. And then after that, I said I'm never buying a gas engine again. And then this finally replaced the BMW.
Okay. So tell me about why you chose this configuration and what the delivery process was like.
Sure. Originally, I picked a forest green with the Ocean Coast interior, and they sent us an email that you got to lock in your configuration, and then we'll give you a delivery date. Well, I left it that way, and my delivery date was first half of 2023, and I just did the face palm going, why did I do that? So I changed my configuration to launch green. I figured they were going to get through that color first, and then stuck with a black mountain. Next thing I know, I get an email from Rivian saying, hey, your 8-step process is started, and like a week and a half later, they scheduled the delivery for it. So I was ecstatic. Team showed up to the house here with a white Rivian truck and this. They walked my wife through it for about an hour and a half. I know everything there is to know about the car, but my wife didn't, so they were great about it. There was one service issue, and they showed me how to put that in the app to get it repaired. But other than that, it's been fantastic. It's actually weird because I've owned a lot of cars in my life. Never have I been stopped at I let a friend drive it. Somebody pulled up and asked me to lower the window just so they could say how much they like the car. I've never had that happen before. So it's been a lot of fun driving it around.
That's very cool. So how was your first impression and your wife's first impression of driving this? You've got the e-tron, but this is a little bit bigger of a monster than that.
Yeah, the e-tron SUV made my sedan look small. This makes the e-tron look like a sedan. It is so different, but it is so nimble, and this is the fastest car I've ever owned. I've owned Corvettes, I've owned Camaros. I mean, I'm 50 years old, so I've driven a lot of cars. Never have I had the experience of this launching. Maybe on a snowmobile, but this has just blown me away.
Very cool. So tell me a little bit about your home charging setup.
Yeah, so Dakota Electric is my local company. They were awesome. They actually ended up giving me a rebate check to get the charger set up and pay the electrician to come and do it. And then obviously you get super cheap charging at night. And that was part of the frustration before with my plug-in hybrids, is that they would charge for 2 hours and be full. And I'm like, I have all night to still fill up more battery on it. So I just got a ChargePoint charger, and it's working great. We have a cabin we go up to up north and installed a second charger there. So it's just amazing because with the e-tron, we would, leave here full, get there with about 50 miles to spare. And I was calculating the trips before. It costs us literally $3.73 to go basically 200 miles and then come home. So it's just amazing to be able to travel all over Minnesota for that cheap.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so now that you've got two full EVs, how has that been sharing the power or sharing the charge load?
Well, we only charge every other day, so it's not been a problem at all. Yeah.
And then have you used any of the other public charging, like the Electrify Americas or anything else yet, or have you just not needed to?
We made a trip to Chicago, and I stopped at a couple because we got the free charging with the e-tron. But other than that, I only went to Woodbury just to check it out, just to use it. Didn't really need it. And then go to Duluth quite a bit. So they've got a public charger there. I wish it was 150 up there, but it's 50, and it's just about the right time. You just go to a brewery, grab a burger, and come back. That's just about the right amount of time for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that works out pretty well. And actually, a friend of mine just told me today that there's a new EVgo station being set up in Roseville. So
that's good news.
More chargers, the better.
I'm really hoping to put the Rivian charging network up there. And I plan to go ice fishing like I do most years up by Lake of the Woods. And I know that Rivian was doing some testing out there, and they do have a fast charger, but it's not public. It's only for the people testing cars in cold weather. But if Rivian's listening, I really hope they put a RAN network up north like that.
Yeah, up the Gunflint Trail and up there would be fantastic. Yeah. And you said you had a service issue or a service item. So what was that?
The sun visor, it's popped out of the joint. It still works fine, but it's just a little trim that needs to be reinstalled. No big deal.
Okay, cool. Yeah, some of that minor stuff is like a little disappointing, but not the end of the world. Exactly. Yeah. I think now we'll take a little bit of a look around it. I know a lot of places have shown what's inside and outside, but we'll do a quick loop around the vehicle, show some of the features, and then, if it's all right with Frank, we'll go and do a little test drive.
Yeah, I'd be curious to get your first impressions on it since you've driven so many Teslas. I'd love to see what you think about it.
All right. I've never driven a Rivian yet, but I always wanted to, so this is exciting for me. So let's take a look around quick.
And I was lucky because they still included the 12 volt on this one. My understanding is they got rid of the 12 volt charger in the front going forward.
Okay.
This one still has it in case you wanted to carry a cooler or whatever in here. And then obviously this folds.
And that's like the truck.
Yeah,
that's like this one too.
Yeah, identical to the truck. And even though they have a plug-in down there for getting water out of it, Rivian's really about like washing this out. But people have been putting ice and turning it into like a party cooler.
Sure.
But it's not what it was designed for, according to Rivian anyway.
Oh, that pops open.
With your DC fast charging plug down there.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to Range Rover where they have the split gate here so that you can still be usable in and out with luggage. But then this part lowers down. It'll hold up to 500 pounds. So tailgating or whatever, it's not a lot of cars have this piece, and it's kind of neat to have. And because it doesn't have a gas tank, you actually have a ton of extra storage in here. So with the first aid kit, you've got your cables for an air compressor so that you can air down and air back up when you go off-roading.
Sure.
And I like to mountain bike, so actually I used to carry a pump for the tires there, and you would just hook up to your own air compressor in there and don't need to haul around a bicycle pump anymore.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
But like I said, so this is no gas tank. You get
that comes out. I didn't realize that came out.
Oh yeah, you get a ton of storage. Now, typically you can have a spare tire down there, but I didn't get it because I have an air compressor and a filler for patching tires.
Sure. Do they have the electrical outlets in here, or
Yeah,
is that
so
only?
they have
Got
a 110 and a 12 there.
Okay.
And then this piece is in case you want to like car camping. It basically, these things will go down here,
Oh, that gets the front ones nice.
and then this lifts up to this spot here, making it flat.
That is fantastic. Yeah, that is a cavernous space.
Yeah. Then they have the subwoofer. They have a Meridian sound system with 1400 watts of power, so it sounds amazing. 24 speakers, so you can see some there. You can see some in the headliner. And then the third row passengers will have their own little compartments and air vents, and the third row passenger gets its own skylight. I'm 6'2", and I could sit back here and be comfortable. I want to drive all the way to Lake of the Woods back there, but it's comfortable.
That's very cool. Yeah, it's nice that they thought to do the flat thing too, because that would. It's just that added extra little comfort. And this looks like a really small space, but these slide up if someone's sitting back there, right?
Yeah. So these recline and they slide up. So I said I'm 6'2". And I've got, I mean, for being as tall as I am, I'd be pretty comfortable back here, especially because of this headroom with your own panoramic glass. Gives you a lot of headroom. Because the feet go underneath, which is nice. If they didn't fit underneath, it would not be as comfortable. Screen for controlling your own temperature and your own climate control for the third row passengers, and that will just control the lights on and off.
Excellent. These seats, I love how these seats look.
Yeah, they went all out. And then they've got iPad rest for the kids, and USB-C ports to charge whatever device you want to hang here.
I've never noticed the USB-Cs before, but that's cool.
And there's another 110 outlet under here too. Oh, I guess it's not a cover, but it's a 110 outlet.
Right.
Now the mats are made out of chili witch. It's a placemat holder. So underneath, we've got reinforced plating, and according to Rivian engineers, you could put the entire weight of the car on a 1" by 1" spike, basically, and it will not pierce through the battery. Obviously, you don't want to go jumping it that way, but you could put the entire weight of the car on a 1" by 1", it won't pierce through. It'll forge through 3 feet of water. The only reason it doesn't go deeper than that, or Rivian doesn't recommend more than that, is because it'll start to float away then, but it's basically a submarine. And there have been some rash videos where somebody did take it forging, and then the seals around the doors here have kept all of the mud and junk out. So they went water forging with it, and none of it got inside. It was completely sealed. So
That's fantastic. Actually, there's a light behind the door handles too.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
So you can see that as you're walking up. Oh, yeah.
The flashlight. So the thing about the flashlight is there's 7,776 batteries that make up the the battery pack. This makes it 7,777. This is actually the same battery that is in the battery pack.
And it recharges in the door, right?
Yeah, it just sits there and recharges. Here is the camp speaker. It just synchronizes with the music that you have playing there. And there is, I haven't messed with it yet, a lamp that this lights up. And this just more like gives it a little bit of a ambient light. It's not really to light anything up.
Yeah, very cool. And so that just sits in the center, underneath the center console.
Yeah, and then it'll lock in here so that when you're like doing the, crazy driving, it doesn't go flying out.
Yeah. Okay, so we're not going to be able to see our faces, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
very comfortable, taller than the Model Y, for sure. There's no on-off switch. You just get in with either the key card, the wristband, or your phone. And phone connectivity has been pretty good for you?
Yeah,
getting
it's
in
been
it?
great. It's been absolutely great.
Fantastic. And then just foot on the brake and...
Yep. And then you should be familiar with the stock down.
Regen you have set to high.
Yep.
Ride soft. Stability on.
And we're in all purpose right now.
Okay. So the ride height is
standard.
Just standard.
Standard.
Okay.
And it'll adjust as we move. Could lower it or make it higher. Sports mode will definitely lower it, stiffen up the suspension, although you could still soften it up a little bit. And then Conserve disengages the rear wheels and makes it front wheel drive, and it does throw another 20-30 miles onto the range.
Okay, great. Okay, that's very familiar. Having this screen is not familiar. One thing I love about Rivian is how well integrated the screen is into the dash. It sits just perfectly, and it's just bordered nicely with the wood trim and just looks so sharp. I think it's one of the best integrated screen designs of any EV.
Yeah, I was watching a Monroe Associates YouTube video, and they started putting stickers on everywhere that it would cost a lot of money to make, and this thing was just covered in stickers because they have to bend the wood, and that is not cheap or easy to do, and you end up throwing away a lot of material, and it takes a lot of skill to do it right. And so I think that's why Rivian now introduced this as an option for here.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
You could still get the wood, but they have a vegan option, is what they call it. And it's just way easier to manufacture than this would be.
I'm sure, yeah. But this does look amazing. Take your recommendation on where to go. Ooh,
yeah.
That is smooth. That is smooth and quiet.
So you want to go right.
And there's some regen there. So one of the things you were talking about was regen. How does this regen compare to the Audi?
So the Audi actually uses the regen with your brake. So it'll just coast if you let it go. And when you use your brake, that's what actually activates the regen. So it drives like a normal car.
Okay.
There's no regen. Well, they have these little paddles that you could use behind the wheel, but nobody uses those. It's a pain. And it disappears after you start and stop the car. So
you have to reset it.
Every time, so it's not worth it.
Yeah, I did one brief e-tron test drive in Minneapolis, but not enough to get a real good impression other than be like, yeah, it's a nice car.
Yeah, absolutely love it. But it's really just a normal SUV. Other than that, goes like the Dickens, but...
Speaking of which...
Yes.
Yeah, so that's
that is slower.
Yeah, it wasn't. In a residential area, I thought maybe it's not best to put it all the way down. Yeah, really feel pretty higher up feeling than I expected it would.
I did drive a Range Rover, Defender 110. This reminds me of that.
Okay.
Like that feel.
The nice thing about the flat front of the Rivian is, there's nothing sticking past what you can see.
So if you can hear the turn signal, it sounds like a raindrop. And then when you lock the car, it sounds like bird chirp. Because Rivian was trying to stick with the outdoor adventure theme to the whole thing. So.
Yeah, that's cool. And then on this screen, you can bring up different things. So is there when you're usually driving, you usually have the map up, or
either one? I mean, I've only had it since Saturday, so it's only been a couple days, but either one is great. Like somebody that I let test drive commented on how great this huge map is, especially if you're in a neighborhood you're not used to and you're trying to find particular areas.
You are up high, and so like as I turned, I was like, I know the weight's down low, but still I don't want to turn too fast.
I think you'd be okay. I hear where you're coming from. So Rivian's got a McLaren style suspension. It doesn't have sway bars. What it does is it has electrostatic or electro-hydraulic system where it pushes the weight from that end to this end with hydraulics, and it is constantly measuring your roll, and it'll push hydraulics to keep you flat.
It did seem flatter than I was expecting, but at the same time, I'm like, well, it's also your brand new car, so I don't want to push it. But yeah, so the Region is pretty similar to the Model Y. It might be a little stronger. It might be just a little bit stronger coming to stop signs and things, but I'd say it's pretty close.
So they have a gear guard, which is similar to, I don't know what Tesla calls it.
Sentry mode, yeah.
And it was interesting. I don't think I can use it right now, but when you park it, to see people like come take a peek at it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's drawn some attention.
And that saves internally on the truck, right?
Yeah.
There's memory built in the truck.
Yeah, and apparently if I plug into this USB-C and can external hard drive, you can export it. It's just, obviously we are not in our lane because it's construction, so it's just giving us a warning that.
But that was a nice, subtle, but definitely makes you alert that, hey, something's going on. So. And it doesn't feel, for the height, it doesn't feel very wide, which I like. I'm not a fan of the really wide vehicle. We're in Mexico. Oh, wow. That wasn't even all the way down.
I know, it took me, so they brought me an R1T to test drive, or they call it first mile ride.
Yeah.
It took me 3 times and I never actually got around to flooring it. It wasn't until I got this thing that I did a full launch, and hopefully up there, once we get past the roundabout, I think you should do the brake, accelerator launch. Because I just couldn't do it. It was just separating the retinas from my eyeballs.
Yeah.
I think it's 3.8 tons. So it's 7,700 pounds. And for it to launch like that is just unreal.
That is, yeah.
My understanding is Pirelli designed the tires with beads on the inside of it because early test models were actually spinning the wheel out of the tire. So like it would not grab. So Pirelli designed special like beads on the inside of it to grab the tire or the wheel.
Yeah, I have just the long range Model Y. So for me, my 0 to 60 is 4.6 seconds. And so this is 3 something, right?
Well, 3, except that I have the all-terrain tires on it, so I'm not sure. Yeah, it'll be more than 3. If I had the street tires, then it's supposedly doing 3. Perfect timing. Now we know he's not there.
The sheriff is gone. Yeah, so I've never, I've ridden in performance Teslas, but never done like a plaid launch or anything like that.
So just left foot brake and then right foot accelerator all the way down.
All right.
And then feel free to let go of the brake.
1, 2, 3. Oh, that is very good.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Like I literally got a blood rush.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you said, you're going to detach the retinas from your eyes. Not too often.
In a 7-passenger vehicle.
Yeah, that is pretty special.
Probably do it once more here at the stop sign.
Oh, if I have to. There's somebody coming down the road. Whoa. Yeah, and then, I mean, for how fast that jumps, really the wheel doesn't move at all.
No, when you hit the gravel, I don't know if you noticed, but instant torque factoring
Yeah.
off of the front, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can feel it, and it's just like, nope, we're going straight.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was really good. This is, yeah, really quiet. Probably quieter than my Y. The cabin is pretty quiet, but I do, like, as we're hitting the bumps and things, you do hear a little more thud.
Mm.
We're also a little closer in that than
And
this,
it's
but
sport, so I think if they went more,
oh, yeah. Might smooth this.
might smooth
But-
it out a little. But for sure, it's a truck. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, really smooth, nice regen all the way
you can either
down.
go right or. Now, the one thing I haven't had a chance really to test out is the Driver's Plus. So it does have obviously your lane keep and your distance control,
Yeah.
but the Driver's Plus, I have not had a chance to check out. It only works on mapped roads, unlike Tesla, which is visual and it works everywhere. This does have to be a pre-mapped right, and then you can turn around with the actual park.
Okay.
And it has to be a pre-mapped road for driving.
It's just the right amount of motor sound to give you a little of that audio feedback, but it's not loud and it's not annoying. You can just kind of feel as you feather your foot on and off the accelerator, the quick response. This road's got some bumps to it, but it's not jarring or anything. But it doesn't feel floaty. That's one thing I don't like in cars, is where you hit something like that and then you feel like you're doing this for the next 2 minutes as it settles itself back down.
Actually, this trailhead has a EV charger. Show it to you when we turn around.
Yeah, it feels really planted.
Yeah, and like
Too
corners
crazy.
for as crazy tall as it is,
Yeah,
this is staying flat.
yeah, and we're almost doing 40.
Yeah.
Sun visors work.
Yeah, and see that's the one that was defective or whatever. See it up there.
Oh,
working.
yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Steering wheel heater works great.
These things are kind of like touch sensitive at 3 different levels.
Oh, nice.
And then the sound system under is pretty,
Oh, yeah.
pretty crazy too. It's good.
Yeah, so the sound system's good. And that gets an A in my book. It's really good. You really feel it, like, all the way through you. Where is the battery? Oh, I'm so used to just looking here. I never oh yeah, there's information over here too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, for it to haul like that at under 60% is really amazing. But if you want to be gentle, you can. And it's just nice.
Oh yeah, let me give you a feel for what Conserve mode feels like, because that actually, like I said, does engage the back 2 wheels. So go ahead and gun it.
Yeah.
So
Oh
you
yeah,
can
you can
totally
definitely
tell-
feel. Yeah, it's pulling you from up there.
But you're not missing anything. Like if you're like
Right.
you now, I think drives more like a normal SUV would. But it does increase the range quite a bit. One thing I haven't checked out is rally mode, because it's got off-road, gives you rally, drift, sand, and rock crawl.
Okay.
And so it lets the back end spin a little bit more. If you're on gravel roads, it just makes it a little bit more fun to. And then towing, it will tow up to 7,700 pounds. So basically, it could tow its own weight.
Yeah, really nice view out of it. The mirrors are nice and big. You can get a good view. I mean, really see what's there. And for how far back the back window is, you get a good view of that through the rear view as well.
Yeah, the headlights impressed me too at night. They are super bright. Both BMW and Audi spend a lot of money designing their own proprietary headlights. And I would say this thing makes it just as bright as those did.
I was up in Duluth a couple weeks ago, and a friend of mine saw one of these R1T coming down the hill. And he's like, "Have you seen those Rivian trucks? It looks like an alien coming down the hill." Yeah. Yeah, you do get a little helpful steering to keep you in the lane and things. Actually, I like the subtle chime in this better than Tesla's like, "Hey, hey, hey!" I'm like, okay, settle down. We're just going on the lane. So the next steps for this are
Getting it PPF. Yep. And I think I'm really curious what it's going to do to the color because I have a feeling it'll. And then there's a roof rack that's coming, and some other accessories. There's a Max Tracks and just recovery gear.
Yeah, this is just enjoyable. It's got all the fun toy stuff if you want to do the crazy acceleration and all that stuff, but just driving it normal here is just comfortable.
It really does feel like 3 cars in one to me. So it's quick, like my sports cars that I used to have.
Yeah.
It is carries 7 like my minivan used to, and it is an off-road beast.
Yeah.
So I've never had all 3 in one vehicle. So essentially, like, you could go rock crawling and then race almost every production Ferrari ever made and win.
Yeah. Yeah, in the same day you could do almost anything you need to do with a vehicle without, maybe change some settings on the screen. That's it.
Yeah.
And so you've taken the e-tron up north. Is the e-tron going to go up north ever again, or is it just going to be this?
Yeah, I can't see us doing that.
Yeah, if you're not used to driving something this tall, that might take a little getting used to, but it's narrow enough that you don't feel like you're spilling out over the lanes. Yeah, it just handles so nicely. Just exactly what you'd expect it to do.
And my teenage daughter said she felt like she's learning to drive all over again, but she got used to it really quick. And then the color changed at night.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really sharp too.
Oh, and then these light up. I don't know if you could tell, but it's
Oh yeah.
As it gets dark, these are ambient lights are pretty nice.
Well, thanks a lot, Frank, for sharing this excellent Rivian R1S with us, and really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been fun. Glad got it worked out.
And thank you. If you enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you again, Frank. Have a great day, and happy road tripping.